Good morning, smarthelping.com here, live building this inventory management tool in Google Sheets. Welcome. Let's get the link out to old Twitter here. Do a sound check. Link out to old Twitter Looks here. Good. So this template's going really good. We are going to do the summaries and reports. Today is going to be more. This is my favorite part of it, is building the summaries with all the formulas, and there's some cool stuff with the filter formula we're going to do. Before we get started, don't forget, check out smarthelping.com for all these different templates and tools. The one I'm doing now, the inventory management, will be added to the accounting bundle here. It'll be a $45 one-time cost for the template. Also, it'll be in the inventory bundle down here, included in this, and it will be in the small business financial models and tools. Basically, what I call this is a small business playbook, and it'll be included in this as well. So it's going to fit a lot of different categories on the site, and it's going to be really useful. A lot of people I've seen for inventory management in Google Sheets. So we're going to try and build a general use template today, or continue on. Also, don't forget, you can do all the models on smarthelping.com for $9.99. So where we left off yesterday, I did some things with safety stock, unit count per location. So we're going to do some fun logic there, where on the drop-down tab, we're actually going to do some calculations by each unique SKU, and we're going to bring that over to the database, and this data will be driven from the database. But we figured out a nice way to do that. Also note, the blue columns are things you edit, like all your different locations you're going to have, all the minimum inventory level or safety stock of each SKU, and the SKUs themselves. And over here on the database, you can see these are blue for things you need to enter manually every time there's a movement in the inventory. Okay, so first summary, let's think about this. So what do we want to actually know? Well, the first thing we want to know is inventory available. So based on all the in and out transactions, how much inventory is there per location? Actually, we'll call this inventory per location. So on that, we need to sum up all the adds, reduce the depletes for each location, and that should give us a good number, and we'll test it out. And we'll go really slow. We'll do that first, and we'll just build off of that and continue to make summaries. So first of all, I want to see the unique locations. We simply do locations, and I'll do sort. Actually, no, we'll keep it the same order that it's entered. So I just want a unique function, and here are all the locations that should be entered. And so that will go down into perpetuity. Now, I have to use some ifs, and I can't do an array because it has too many criteria. You can only do an array formula with the sum if with no s at the end. And then you can filter on a single criteria only. So what we can do here is put total added, total depleted, current stock available. So that's what we're going to automate. Now, you can have one of these locations represent sales. So here I have a sold location. And if you do that, you simply, every time you sell something, you reduce it from wherever it's leaving, and you increase the sold location. And you could have multiple sold locations if you want to just have it all into one, but that's one way you can track actual sales of things within this. Shoot. Did I have the go live going? Oh, let's put this as part 2. Shoot. I think I was live because I saw it. I just didn't have this tracker up. Okay, I think it's fine. Okay. Anyway, okay, so inventory per location, we have total added. We'll do sum ifs, and we want the total units if the location matches our location, and if this is equal to add. And whenever you enter starting balances, they'd all just simply be transactions with the add selected on column E. So there's my total adds for each one. Let's see if we lock the columns. We can drag this over, and then depleted is in just, we're changing E to depleted, and all the other columns are the same. Did I spell something wrong? Deplete, not depleted. And we could just, for ease of analysis, you could put a negative on these. So now the first thing we can see is, I'm trying to avoid doing drop down, so I can do array formula here. B to B plus C to C. So now that's automatic, but I do have to drag this down. So based on how many locations there are, you'll have to drag these down as many as that. I'll just put it to like 50. That's a pretty safe number. If you have more, you can just continue dragging it down. But Google Sheets can handle this pretty easily, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue. So here's the current stock. So we added 5,200 to the warehouse. We depleted 2,000. 3,200 is available. We added 2,000 to location 2, depleted 1,000, so there's 1,000 there. Now this should match if we sum up this, equals 4,200 total, and if we did the math here, 52 minus 2 plus 2 is the same, minus 1,000, 4,200. Now this is saying the total stock per location. Now here's what we have to do. We have to sort based on the SKU, because this is all SKUs. This formula would do all SKUs. So we need to add something here. Let's see. So we could do SKU select up here, and it would change all of this, or we could put SKU going across, or we could put locations going across the top, SKUs going down, but then we won't have the total add, total deplete. It'll just be total stock, and it'll be a formula that adds this, subtracts this, all in one formula. Or we can do SKU select, and I think I'm going to do this actually, or we could do both. So this is going to select the SKU. That'll be an entry cell. Remove grid lines. Also, what's nice about Google Sheets is we can do alternating colors. Wait, where's that format? Oh, there it is. So I can just do Let's see what looks nice. This one. And then to get boxes, we can also do the light boxes. Okay, so it's fairly easy to read this. Now, what we'll be able to do is select the different SKUs, and then this data will update so you can see by SKU what's going on. But to do that, we have to add the final selection to say also sum if column D, the SKU, matches. Oh, man, Excel was doing this to me. Now Google Sheets is doing it. It stopped the formula, so hold on. Sum F if C is A5, if E is add, and D is B2. Okay, now let's drag these down. So if I change this to say AB1, there's no selections here, but let's say there is now. So you can see here, AB1 stock, we've bought 5,200 to the warehouse, and that's the current available. So here's reporting based on SKU and location, and this is a pretty efficient way. Like you could have a whole bunch of locations and a whole bunch of different SKUs, but you'd have to report one by one on the SKUs. There's another way, so we can do, let me duplicate this tab, except for we're going to do inventory um, view all. And now, watch this. So we put this formula transposed. I think this should work. Wait, I know there's a way to transpose the unique formula. There we go. So now uh, it will go across the top instead of down. And we can remove, let's see, we still want this formula here. And then we're going to add that formula to it, or subtract it actually. So we're adding everything minus everything that's depleted based on that. Let's move this over here and move SKU onto here. So this is now SKU going down and locations going across. And we'll give this a nice thick line. And we want to automate these. There's going to be no need for selection, so we can remove the data validation. And we could just say this is going to equal the SKUs in the entry here. Okay, now this all works. I just have to let A5 go down. And then by location, so B4 should only lock on the number, not the letter. So what I can do is, this is now the balance per SKU and location. So it's summing up everything per location, per SKU, and saying, okay, warehouse has minus 2,000, and this can go over and down. Let's see. Hold on. Does this not do? Can I not do grid lines here? Or did I not do them all the way up? There we go. Okay, grid lines. We want those on here. This will be for all the locations. You can basically have as many locations as you want. You just have to drag down the formulas. And these will automatically populate. Let's give all these alternating colors. Oh, we might have to, so let me remove this and then re-add it. Because you might just want to see a quick view instead of flipping through each SKU. You just want to see a quick view of everything at once, and you're not worried about what was in and out, just its current balance. So that's what this tab will allow you to do. And you don't need to select anything. This is just going to report as the database gets updated with new data. So here, we need to lock going across. So inventory at the warehouse on AB1 is 52. On ABC, let's put this back all to ABC so we can really see the flow. So and SKU ABC, there's 7,200 in warehouse and 3,000 locations, so that should match here. Uh, it does not. Let's see. This I thought I did as a negative. Oh, I forgot to update it probably. Okay, so 3,200 in warehouse, 1,000 in location 2 for ABC stock. You see ABC stock 32, 1,000. So that matches. Now, if I were to add, let's say we wanted to, let's put a date in here for inventory. Let's say on July 29th, we sold, put it to the sold location in location 2, the depletion here, the 1,000 of stock ABC is now also there. And if I go to view all, I can now see sold location has a balance for ABC of 1,000. Location 2 still has 1,000 and warehouse still has 3,200. Whoa, holy cow. We've got 9 viewers right now. Holy cow, guys. I've never had more than 4 ever. I've been streaming for like 2 years. Literally 2 years. Every morning. Well, I used to stream at 5 in the afternoon, but like this is crazy. Oh my goodness. 9 viewers. That's like I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but that's a lot for me. Nice. Well, I hope things are helpful. Do I got any messages? Nope. Oh, we lost one. All right, well, let's get back into it here. Oh, that's really cool. Okay, um, so we've got inventory per location, all automated. You can pick the different SKUs, and it'll show all of that stuff. Now, question here. Sold. Oh, I need to add sold as a SKU, or rather, oh, it's already in here. So locations automated, added, depleted, automated, current stock available by warehouse, location 1, 2, and sold. Now the view all is nice because now the view all is essentially showing this column, current stock available, for all SKUs and all locations at one time. And this will automatically, I use the transpose function here with the unique function to get the drop down of the locations to go across automatically. And as you add more, those will fill in over. And then we've got the formulas here. I can drag these over. What's nice about the sum ifs formula is it's very, very stable. And you can use it quite a bit with quite a bit of data. So here we're going to go down 1,000 rows and over what, 26 columns or 20, 25. And there you have it. Now, if you want it to be lighter, you don't use all these, you don't have 1,000 SKUs and you don't have that many locations, you could just delete the rows and columns that you're not using. But there you go. So at any point, based on this database entry here of add depletes by location and the date's not relevant yet. I'm actually debating, we'll see how we do with this date of expiry calculation, but we might or might not use the date. I'm not sure yet. But right now it's a nice little sheet here to look at your inventory balances over time and just to track it, which is very important if you've got a bunch of different SKUs and you don't want to manually do the math and reconcile. Like this does everything automatically. All right, so I like this so far. It's pretty light. Let's see if we change something, how long it takes. So let's say we do another entry in August. Let's say we add it to location 1. And we do this SKU add, and we add 5,000 units of it. The cost is $10,000. Now the cost here would only be relevant for add transactions. And so for sold, and this is another thing I was debating on, is how to do the value of the inventory, because this is where it gets complicated. You've got inventory you might have bought years ago on here that's different price than what you're buying now, and so how do you value the inventory? And the first in first out logic is kind of the staple for what's accounting required, but we can't do that logic in this. It's just it's just not going to happen. But the workaround is I'm going to probably build something where you can define the date range to take into account the average cost, and it'll look at the average cost of the purchases or ads in that date range, and it'll assign that as the value basis for the different SKUs to get you a valuation of the inventory at any time by location and SKU in total. So yeah, that's probably what we'll do next, but let's just do a test here on this. So location 1, we added this SKU, 5,000 units. These other ads need to have a cost with them as well. Let me just put that there. Now on the sold, we're basically tracking what's sold. I guess you could put what you sell it for. I'm just putting a random number in here because on the sold, it's just a way, like you can define on the drop down if you want to track what's the total inventory that's been going out. You could just put it all into it, treat it as its own location bucket. And you can have multiple buckets if you want to track sold from location 1, sold from location 2, or whatever. That's all possible with this current structure. Now the deplete doesn't need a cost when it goes down. We just need to know the cost of ads to add it. Okay, so we added this. Let's look at our thing now. So we've got, yep. So there we got our new SKU. It's got a balance of 5,000. If we look here, we'd have to put SKU here, and you can see, oh, location 1, we added 5,000. Current stock available 5,000. And it really, I'm wondering how valuable it is to know the value of inventory since we have to do this kind of weird average calc, or is the sheet going to be just overall more valuable by just having stock units and it just tracks units available. And I don't know yet how. Holy cow, we got more. 14 viewers, guys. Oh, what's going on? This is insane. Don't forget, check out smarthelping.com while you're here. Don't at the end of the stream, you can buy all the models I've ever built for $9.99. I've been doing this stuff for 7 years. This is just a little taste of what I've got here on the inventory management sheet, but check it out, guys. Um, we're streaming here usually in the mornings around 10 o'clock. This is awesome. Okay. Back to it here. So the question is, do we value the inventory or not? Is what we're thinking about. Now I guess, well, let's just try it. Let's see what happens here. So if I wanted to say value of inventory, okay, and Google Sheet automatically updated the formatting for me, so that's good. If I wanted to do value of inventory, I'm gonna have to pick the date range. So date range for inventory value. And we go, these are going to be dates. What am I doing? Data, validation, date. Okay, so let's say I want to base the average cost. Basically, it's going to take the weighted average cost of all inventory between these two dates, and that will be the basis for the value of the SKU for what it costs per unit. And then we'll just apply that to the current available stock, and then that's the value. We can also do a subtotal. Oh, this should have a subtotal in general. So let me unfreeze. We need to put a row in here for sure. Oh, Excel and Google Sheets with the freezing. They're different. Hold on. So no rows. We want to freeze up to here. Okay. So these are going to be totals. So I can put the total ever purchased, this function, total ever depleted, the current, this is the grand total stock of the given SKU across all locations. And then we'll do the valuation. So okay, and then what I want to do is say, okay, I'm only going to take the value, the average cost between dates X and Y, whatever. Let's just do the month of July. And let's think about this calculation. So I want to say, I really only have to do the calc one time here. So we'll do weighted average cost per unit. And so to do that, I simply go sum ifs. We want to get the total cost here if the SKU matches, and that's all we care about is just the total cost of the SKU. So there's that total. We also want to do it only if the date range is here. Dang it. If the date range is in column A, so we will need the date for sure, are greater than or equal to this, and A is less than or equal to this. So there's the first basis calculation. And let's see, is there anything for July? Let's put this as the first just so there is some by function or by, let's put this in July. And the whole reason what this is for is your prices are going to change over time, and if you have inventory transactions in here from a long time ago that they've already been bought, they've been sold, the cost is not relevant for valuing the current level of inventory, then you don't want to include that. So this gives you a nice filter function to say, okay, only choose uh, the cost basis between things that were bought between these two dates. Now, if you want to do it all, then you could just pick the earliest date and the latest and the most recent date to do it. Now, why am I seeing nothing here? 3F. Because that was purchased in July. Let's put this back to July or August. Let's put this back to July. There we go. Okay, so let's do a SKU that has more transactions in it. So here's 15,707 for ABC SKU, which is this. Okay, I just want to make sure this makes sense. So there's that. And then I want to sum up the total units. I want to divide that total by the total units purchased. So I want everything in F if E equals add and the dates are in between my date range. So now what I do is divide the total cost by the total units purchased between those dates. So we can go copy, and so we're dividing by sum ifs. I believe that would be F. Let me check real quick. F is units, and then if E is add. So let's add another selection here. Column E has to equal add, because you're only doing the cost of the purchases. Now here's an issue. Here's an issue. The 15,000 in row 7 is a sold bucket. So that's obviously not a cost. That's just an items that you want to track being sold. So how do we easily we need a solution to not count that. Because everything else is, so we sum that if the date ranges match, and that is add, but we don't want, given the fact that the location, so this number's not right yet. This is not the right cost per unit. Given that the location, the user, if you're on here, could enter the sold location in any slot here. I don't know what it would be. Either we have to remove, oh, shoot. Yeah, this is a problem because I don't want to count the units or the cost of anything that gets into that sold bucket, whatever it might be and wherever it might be. So you almost need another entry here that says add, deplete, or sold. Now, if I were to do a sold, then that would have its own summary now and not really be a location. Let's think about this. Well, it could be, but then you would only have things in the sold location if it was labeled as sold here. But we don't want redundant things. Like you don't want to have to enter sold. What to do? I guess the solution is we have to do a third type of entry. It can be an add, a deplete, or a sale. That's the only thing that we can do. Oh, list of items. So add, deplete, or sold. That's, or reject input if it's not any of those three. Because I don't know any other way we can we can get around. We don't want to sum up this. So you can call whatever you want to call the sales location or location if you're tracking what's been sold. You have to enter in column E that it's a sold item. And this doesn't have to say sold. This could just say sales from location 2 or sales from location 3 or whatever. But this is the most important. It should not be included in this cost calculation, so we have to remove that. And that's not too bad of a workaround. So right now it's saying our weighted average cost per unit is $2.18. So we want to check that. It looks, let's see. So for SKU ABC, we have 11 cents. We have an 8-cent purchase. So something's not right here. Let's see. Are these all purchased through July? Yep, this is all in July. So what I do now, what I like to do on this situation is let's see what number. We know the first number is right. Well, let's double check that actually because we did change around the stuff. Let's see what this number is giving us. So 15,705. Okay, so that's not correct. So we want to add a selection here. Database column E needs to equal add as well. Now we're talking. Okay, so 10 cents. And that, I think that makes sense because you've got 11 and 8. Let's just do a quick check here. So that's 5,200 units, 2,000 units of ABC. Now hold on. Is this counted? Oh no, this is a different SKU, so no. So you got that. You've got a total cost that you paid for all that stuff of $705. The cost per unit then is 0.09792. Perfect. Okay, so that's good. We'll just do 2 decimals on that. You could do yeah, two. I guess we could do 3. Okay, so this calculation seems to be working fine. So now what we can do is value the inventory. And that, let's see if we can do an array on this. So I want to do D5 to D times F2. Perfect. So there's the total value of the inventory. And let's see, does this equal that? 411,250. It does. Now this I don't care about decimals going past 2, so we can just do 2 decimals there. So that's it. And if you want to select a different range based on the cost, you can do that here and it will update the cost calculation. If we go to this other one, you see the weighted average cost here is $2 a unit. And that's just saying it had this cost. So that's working. What's going on, guys? Welcome to smarthelping.com. Welcome, everyone. This is the most viewers at one time I've ever had to the live stream. Happy to see it. I've been doing this for 7 years. Glad you're here. Glad you're here. Don't be afraid to say anything either. I will look at here and respond to comments as they come in if you got any suggestions or anything else. We're building inventory management here in Google Sheets. So we're doing pretty good here. We've got all this automated by SKU. It shows all the locations, the balance of your inventory units. We've got the inventory unit balance of all SKUs and at all locations here, which is good. Now add deplete. So now what we're going to have to, so with that last update where we have a third thing here called sold. So if it's marked as sold, it's not going to show up in any of this or this. But it doesn't mean so that's just saying like you're adding things to a place because you just want to see what's been sold of a given SKU. So it's not going to affect the balances. What will affect the balances is if you depleted something because it sold, that would. But then if you want to track how much you've sold over time, you'd have to actually do another. Now we're calling this a sold transaction. So we should do another tab, and this is going to be total sales. So total scale sales by SKU and location. So we can use this formula, but we don't need to do. It's going to be a bit more simple. It's just going to be sum ifs. The total units sold if the location matches B4. Oh, and the SKU matches A5. Dang it. SKU matches, I believe it was A5, and then also if column, oh, whoops, and if E, oh my goodness, come on, Google Sheets. If E is equal to sold. So now it's just showing you everything that's been sold at any location. Oh, what am I doing? I gotta lock all this. Okay, so now we can see what's actually, and we know we're only putting sold things in the sold location, so it's going to show up there for that SKU, but we'll put this all the way over because technically you might want to calculate this for all, a bunch of different locations. And for a bunch of different SKUs. Let's keep going down here. Now, the other part of this, and I don't know how full circle we want to go, but on a sold transaction, you could put the dollar, and technically this wouldn't be a cost. This would be your sales revenue, and so you could count your revenues, your revenue per unit. But I mean, that's going pretty far down the hole here. We just want to really build an inventory tracker and value that inventory. This is kind of just an add-on here. And we don't want to slow the sheet down too much. So let's just hold off on trying to do the value of things that are sold. We'll just put that there. So really, if something's sold, you don't need to put anything in this entry. Just the location and that it was sold in the SKU. The date range won't matter at all. Okay. And for now, let's just change this entry because I don't want to get too confusing as we do this other stuff. So let's just put this back to, let's say this is just add. Okay. So I like how this is right now. Everything's looking good. What we need to do next, so we've got the inventory value here. Uh, ah, let's add a row here because we do want totals for the sold one. So totals, and you want to see what's the total that's been sold across all locations, which you can see by doing this. Well, I guess that wouldn't really make sense because you don't care. Like if you sold active SKU 2, well, you might want to just see the total units that you sold of everything. So that's what that is. But the more relevant thing is you can see how this total sales have been for each SKU forever. Now, if you wanted to do a date range slicer here, you could. I'm not going to put it in, but if you wanted to do a start end date, you just add a slicer that says, do another comma and say you want to reference the date range and only see sales from a given range. But this is not really a sales tracking sheet, so I'm not worried about that. It's more about the inventory tracking. So let's focus there. Okay, so inventory. Now so right now in this valuation, you can only see inventory value of all the different SKUs only at one time. You can't see them all at once. To do that, we'd have to do inventory all. Let's see. Now this is going to be tricky. So we'd have to get a cost basis for a given date range for each SKU, and then multiply that by the balance, which is not too hard, but how do we structure that best? Do we use this? Do we use a new selection? Let's see, we probably want it to function by itself. Um, Basis for cost. Start date, end date. And if we did that, let's see, we want this, and then we're also going to do one row above. Okay, so now you'll be able to see total inventory value at each location. And if we insert a column here, we can see, let's say I only want to freeze up to 2 columns. You can also see you'll see the total value by SKU, by location. So here's the total value of inventory at the warehouse, at location 1, etc. Also the total value of ABC across all locations, AB1, etc. And the total of all inventory on all locations will be here. And what we'll do is above each of these locations, we're going to do a different formula. It's going to be similar to this. So let me just copy this as a basis. So basis for cost, be this, we'll do it dark. Okay. Oh no. No. It's not going to be, it's going to be above each row or column. So we go here. We want to sum G. Let's see, what's D? The SKU. Okay, so we want to sum the SKU. The SKU would be in. Shoot, how do we go? Because the SKUs are going down. Okay, so this has to be a cost per unit. The location is not going to matter. It doesn't matter where you bought the stuff at, like what location it was bought at. All you care about is the cost that it was bought at per SKU. Okay, so here, so D is the skew. That can be locked. Actually, this stuff's just going down, so it's fine. And then A, the start date here, end date here. If it's add, that's the same. And then sum ifs database F, so this is a quantity against, now what's C2? Is that the skew again? Hold on, let's see, where are we at here? F, D, what's D in the database? Oh, it is skew, okay. So we need to update this here as well. I thought I did. What did I change? Okay, that's A6. This is also the skew. And oh, we are gonna have to lock all of these columns because we got to drag this over. Oh, no, no, no. I'm in the wrong formula. Oh my goodness. Okay. That's it. So there's the A6. This should be A6. Now, okay, so why am I not getting a value here? Is F3 being calculated? Okay, yeah, F3 is not relevant. That's going to be the end. And that's not relevant. That's going to be up here. So F1, F2, F1, F2. Oh, there we go. So, and that's the same, yeah, 86, so that matches. And I can simply drag this down. Now I'll do, to clean it up, if A6 is blank. Now I wish this could be an array, but doing array with some ifs, it just doesn't work for whatever reason. Also the base, I think I'll just cut this off at 500. Just for, the default. If you wanted more, just drag the formulas down. If you have more than 500 SKUs that you got to track, that's fine. Just create more rows, drag everything down. But for the base template, I don't want to make it too heavy, so I'm going to delete those. All right. And then to value this, I simply take, let's see. So sum product. And just to multiply all of the units available at each location times the cost. And what do we go down to? 500. So sum product in that column against the cost per unit. I guess we need to put an if error in here. Or no, if this is blank, no, hold on. So if error, which means it's a 0, just give me a 0. There we go. And we'll test this. So let's see, does this make sense now? We're trying to get the value. So 3,200 units base cost here. We've got $275 worth of inventory at the warehouse. Now, if we drug this over, we need to lock column B, and we should be able to drag this over to get the value. Oh, what happened? Oh, there we go. Oh my goodness. Google Sheets is, what are you doing? So E, locking B, can I drag this over? What's the problem? Circular reference. Why is that? Ah, I see. So it's an error with the date formula here. I need to lock F2 and F1 and F2 and F1 because those were dragging down into here and then that was referencing itself. There we go. Alrighty. So now we can have this cool cost per unit modulation column. We got the total cost or total value of inventory based on costs of inventory purchased within these dates. We can drag this over. We can also go down, let's see. So this is cool. We got that. Now totals. You probably want to see the total count, total dollar. You also, I don't think it's relevant to see total units because the SKUs are all different. To see total of units at each location across all the different types of SKUs. But you probably want to know the total of a given SKU across all locations for sure. That will be meaningful. So let's sum that up. Nice. That went down nice to the bottom. All right, I've got total count, and now to do the value, it's real simple. We can do an array formula here. B6 to B times D6 to D. So that, in theory, is my total inventory value per SKU. And then if I sum these up, this is the total units. Oh, D6 to D, total units, total inventory value, which should match this, and it does. That's good. All right. So here's this is probably the most common sheet a manager would be working on because it shows uh, by location, by SKU, what's the inventory balance, and then you can also see the value of inventory at each SKU and the value of all the inventory at each location. Now the question is, does this cost make sense? So let's look at the warehouse. So we've got a basis of $275 cost for July. So 275 for the warehouse. Now I've got 555 here. And there's also the depletion, and that's it. So really, so why is my cost not 555? Ah, the value not is okay because there's only 3,200 units here. So the total cost was 555. We sold some, however. Now, if I had no deplete, let's say all these were just ads. So we didn't sell, we haven't removed any inventory from anywhere. Then in theory, my cost for ABC, it should be, the value should be 2305. And for the warehouse, it should be 905. Okay, I don't, let's see. So we got different numbers. All right, well, this is the fun part. Now we get to really validate this. So why does a warehouse, it has 7,200 units. Total across all of them is 11,200 for ABC, so that's right. And my total cost is 2305. So I see 2305 for ABC, that's right. 7,200 units. Now the value of everything in the warehouse, I've got at 1481 based on 7,200 units at that. Oh wait, we have 1,000 units at that price. Let's see. Let's just check this. So 11,200 units for 12,305. Now why? So this is 12,305, but it's including this SKU. Okay, that does make sense because this is including all SKUs. So that number is right, 12,305. So that's good. The math is sound here. The cost per unit is working. Let's talk about, so the 2,305, where is this coming from? It would be the cost basis of that SKU ABC at 11,200 units. So let's look at that, 11,200. So that's 2,305. Was that the number? Yeah, 2,305. Okay. That looks like it's working. So that's good. Let's just give these a thick border to separate. So total count of everything, count by SKU across all locations, current SKU count at each location, the value of all the inventory at each location based on cost basis between these ranges and weighted average cost. Let's just make this clear. We're gonna have to put a note in here. Uh, these two dates define, actually, let's just put it on the cells themselves. All right, I'm pretty happy about this. We got some new formatting here that I've never done. We've got some cool cost calculations. I feel like this is very efficient, way of calculating this across many different locations, many different SKUs, and is very easy to expand. So these are the two dates at which the weighted average cost per unit is calculated between. This is to account for changing cost basis over time. If relevant. Now, if your units cost the same over like all of your data, you can just put the start and end date as the very first date of purchase and the current date, and that's fine. All right. So 16,002. Let's put in a depletion entry for, now this won't, the date should not matter. So let's say in August, for the warehouse, we deplete some of ABC. Let's say we deplete 500 units. Okay, and so now we've removed 500 units. from the warehouse. So now there's only 6,700 here. So we went from 11,200 total to 10,700. So that's 500 down. That makes sense. The total value went down for ABC from 20, I think it was 25 or something, to 22. Total inventory went down to 12,002. Let's see, what was it before? It was 12,003. This was 2305, and it went down to 2 and 12.2 and 22. Okay, so I think roughly 100 bucks, which would make sense at 20 cents a unit, 500 units. That's 100 bucks. So, okay, this is looking so far so good. And this reconciles. ABC's got total value 2202, 1378 at the warehouse, 205.80, 617. Well, we don't calculate SKU, individual SKU values at each inventory or each location, so that's not going to be there. We just do the aggregate. So we can't check these, but we can check the total, which should match. And it does, 2,202.10 for ABC SKU. And that's based on this and this. So if that's right, it's very likely that the individuals have to be right as well. All right. So we're making good progress. Holy crap, 141 views, guys. This is awesome. Literally the best stream I've ever had in my life. I know it's not saying a whole lot because usually I have like one or two viewers throughout, but this has been an awesome stream. Happy everyone's here. Um, you know, good to see you guys. This is awesome. Um, okay, so we're making really good headway here. We've got inventory counts by location, by SKU. We've got value, the value of that inventory, as well as the count by location, by SKU. Um, and all it's not complicated. All you have to do is change these two things in blue text, and everything's just driven off of the database. On oh, and on here you just change the stock, the SKU identifier, and everything will change. And then database, you simply just enter in the blue columns, and it's a pretty good flow here. Total sales. None of these are all just reporting tabs. You don't have to change anything on these, just the date ranges if necessary. All right. Now we have some other things that need to be done. So let's go look at this. Unit count per location, I wanted to automate with an array formula with a VLOOKUP. So we want unit count. This we want to query. We'll have to query it from here. No, we'll have to, let's see, we're going to have to do an index match. So on here, sum of unit count, so inventory balance per location. And this will help because it's going to populate the database. And this was one of the things I had thought about on the last stream of how to do it. So we simply go index. We want to index based on the SKU and the location. We want the, oh, no, I don't want this whole thing. Index. Come on, Google Sheets. We want to index all of this, and I want to just know the balance if based on the location and the SKU. So it'll do a thing where it finds this, and it gives me the value in that cell, and that's the balance. So we want to go over to column AC and down 500 rows. So there's my index. Now to get the match, let's see what's the first one, the row. So we want to match the row, which is going to be the skew with this. Now hold on, let me think. Let's think here. What are we actually doing? Hmm. Does this even make sense? Because I'm giving, so if I have the SKUs going down here, unique list of SKUs, unique list of locations, it tells me at location, so at warehouse, I have ABC balance, but it's not going to show how much of AB1 is at the warehouse and ABX in these different ones. Oh shoot, I thought we're at to think about this more. The goal is on this database tab, I want to show how much. What do I want to show here? I mean, it'd be nice to see the balance of the SKU at the location selected before doing any entries. So you select column C and D, and it'll show you here, okay, here's how much exists at that location for that SKU. I don't think it's helpful just to do the total count of units of this SKU across all locations. We need to know both of these. However, this is not going to work here because I would actually have to have warehouse, all SKU balances for the warehouse, all SKU balances for location one. Now we have that here, but I'd have to do a big index formula, and I don't want to do that. So here's what we do. It's going to be a sum ifs, which I hate doing formulas that have to be drug down on the database tab, but there's no other way. If you don't care about this calculation, you could just delete the column and it won't matter. But if you want to see it, you're going to have to deal with it being a formula going down that has to be drug down if you have more data. So we do sum ifs, and we'll just do the total units. Here, if this is add and this is that, and column C is this. So every time you put in the same combination of location and SKU, it's going to do the same calculation. But there's no that's what the redundancy I wanted to avoid, but I don't think there's an easy way to avoid it. So there's all my ads for that SKU at that location. Now I want to minus it from the same calculation. If it's a deplete. Now, if it's a sale, it's not going to be relevant, so it's not really it's fine. Like if you're entering the sales bucket, this doesn't care about the total sold over time. It's not a helpful number. But here, you can see it says, if I were to do warehouse ABC, it says, oh, you've got 6,700 units. Now, if I were to deplete 2,000, that should update. They all should update to go down 2,000. Now, I I wish I could just calculate this uniquely for every combination, but that's going to be honestly probably more redundant than just doing it like this, where you see the every unique combination of location and SKU is going to have the number here. But at least you can see it. So this gives you the balance. Now, the balance at each location. The other calculation we'll do, so first of all, let's check this. So 47, 47, 1, and 3. Okay, and then this is a different skew. Okay, so this is working. I want to also see the total units across all locations. So to do that one, we just do the same formula, except we don't need to count column C. So this is actually the total balance of the skew, which is 8,700. And let's see, does that make sense? Yes, ABC is 8,700 stock. And I can see here, 8,700. Okay, so everything's lining up. And every time I put in a given skew, it'll show me how much I have across all locations. So that shows here, and then the safety stock. Now the safety stock is defined. We actually already have it here. Wait, what did I put here? Some unit. Well, now, so this, hold on. We can do the array on this one. So watch. So if I do, this just needs to know total added and depleted for the given skew. I can do that on the drop down against each skew. We're going to have to just manually do it, but so balance across all locations per skew. And I can simply go sum ifs. At least we got half the redundancy out of there. So sum ifs f if this is matching the skew and this, dang it, what's our add? Column E is add, right? And now we can just do the same formula, but minus if it equals deplete. So now I can just do it once per each skew instead of having to do it on every single row, and then I can do a dynamic lookup to this number instead of having to drag that formula down in the database. And we can just, I'll drag this down a bit because this is going to be for every skew, so we'll go down at least to 500. Now if you have more skews, again, just drag this down. But you have the little drag here on the bottom right, just drag. All right, so now look at what I can do. Instead of doing this sum ifs across every single cell, I can do an array formula VLOOKUP, lookup skew in D3 to D, comma, drop downs A to C, and then range. What am I missing? That should be, oh, what did we miss here? I haven't done this formula in a little bit. 0. Oh, my bad. It's been a bit since I've been in the VLOOKUP, so we're going over from column A, B to C. So this is 3, false. There we go. And now we automatically can calculate the unit count across all locations for a given skew without having to drag that down. This does have to be dragged down because it's a unit count per location and there's no other way to do it. So I'll drag this just down to the 1,000 rows. If you have more than 1,000 rows of entries, we can do that. Now to reset the sheet, you would essentially just delete all your data and just enter an add entry for each SKU based on the total balance, and then start doing transactions from there. Uh, or, yeah, I guess that's the only way, because otherwise you could do for inventory per location, just add a starting balance and then added depleted from that would give you your total stock for each SKU. But for this one, it's a bit more complicated. I don't know. That would be really useful if you can just enter starting balances instead of having to enter an entry for every single one. And that way, it's so much easier to manage. Yeah, so I'm going to build that in. Let me just put a note here. So add starting balance per SKU. And I'll see how to work around that. But at least it'll be good to put on this summary. On this one, yeah, I guess it's fine. The cost basis will just be whatever's between these date ranges, but the total count is going to also take into account a beginning balance, which I guess you'd put it, how would we do that? We almost need a place to put all the, well, could we do it here? On the drop downs tab, we could put, I guess you'd have to have a thing where it has every location and each SKU for each location, and you'd have to literally enter a beginning balance. For here, yeah, it wouldn't work easily for here too because if you select a different SKU, okay, well, what's the starting balance of this one? It has to be some reference lookup. Okay, so it's possible, and I think it's still better than entering an initial add row for every single SKU individually. But it's going to be a bit difficult, and it'll be a list of every single combination of SKU and location and the starting balance of that. And then that can be used in these summaries. And I think that that's still better than having to do it all these different rows. So I'll do that still. Yeah, we definitely still want to do that. Probably do that tomorrow. Okay. All right. Well, we're looking pretty good here. Um, Making a lot of progress. So we've got unit counts. Let's put an if error in here. Okay, so here's automatically if I pick a SKU, updates the balance, whatever it might be. AB1, I actually didn't buy anything, but now look, if I add 500 units of that, it's there. And let's say we add it to location 2, or let's say, yeah, location 2. Now the date is only going to be relevant to calculate cost of goods sold at this point. I might do something with expiry. I don't know, because I've had people ask me about that. So let's say we bought some more inventory for location 2, 500 units. Now AB1 is the first time that SKU's popped up, and now the balance, it was 0 before I did this. So you can see 0, but now let's see, we add 500. Now there's a balance there. We can put a cost and $8. Now that cost of goods sold should pull through to here. Let's see, why do we see 0? So AB1, oh, because this happened in August. Let's just extend this out. There we go. So there's that data. So the formulas are working great. This is good. Now safety stock. So here we're saying we want to do another array. and we want to look up, so this same thing, except for now we want the safety stock, so minimum level. So that's column B. So we want to look up A and B. So we go A, well, we can just change this to 2. So there's the safety stock at 20. So my cushion is saying how much room I have until a given SKU is at the level. And what we can also say is if it is below, so we can do a formula here saying if this is, so watch this, so conditional formatting, if M, let's see, custom formula equals, let's see, how do we do this? M is less than L, then red. And we could change, I think I could change this to start at the 3rd row. Okay, now let's test this out. So what if the safety stock for one of these was, let's say 9,000? So now in theory, I've got 300 under the safety stock. Okay, let's see, so why didn't the conditional formatting work? Well, actually, a better way, so I can do the conditional formatting, that's fine. First of all, let's see, why did this work? If M is less than L. No, we want to do if K is less than L. And man, my stomach is growling. I got to eat lunch here soon. Okay, so this still didn't work. Let me try to just do the whole column. Try that. There we go. Okay, so that did work. Now the other thing we could do actually is just if M is less than 0, and that's actually a cleaner rule. Let's do that. So let me cancel this. Let's change this rule. And all I want to say is if M is less than 0. And that's easier. So we've got that. So current cushion, so it's saying, okay, ABC, we're at 300 under the cushion. So you got to order some inventory. Now, I can also do this. Low stock. And what I can do, watch this, filter, and give me filter. I want to see only the SKUs if this is less than 0. And I want to see only the unique. So you can do the filter, and then of that I want to actually only give me unique cells. So here it's saying, okay, this is SKU, and I can say current count of units, safety stock, shortage. And this will be just a report that auto updates based on the filter function, and it'll show me all the SKUs and what their counts are. And then if you wanted to go deeper, you could get into this shown by location and all that. So that's another nice thing with Google Sheets that we could not do in Excel. Yeah, I'm starving. My stomach is really growling. So I'm calling it there. We'll keep working on this tomorrow at 10 o'clock. But definitely making really good progress here. Thanks for everyone to come. If you want to check out more, I built over 100 different financial models and templates at smarthelping.com. You can check out all the different categories. I also did a small business playbook that has like 12, like what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. over 10 different templates and tools for small businesses, some full financial models, some tracking things for inventory, accounts payable, receivable, uh, here, all kinds of different things. So that's useful. Also, you can shop everything at smarthelping.com, buy everything I've ever built for $9.99, or you can buy by category or individual. I work on this stuff every day, and it's great. All right, that's all I got for you. We'll continue on this inventory management sheet tomorrow morning. But this was awesome. The best stream I've ever had. At one point we had 14 people viewing. Uh, this is just 153 views. This is crazy. This is my most successful stream in the history of Smart Helping. So very cool.